Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're calling from. We have Miguel and Flywill here from the Worldcoin team doing a workshop on proof of personhood with World ID. If you have any questions, they can go into the Zoom chat and the two of them will be more than happy to answer them. With that being said, I will hand off the mic to our two speakers.
Amazing. Thanks, Anna.
Hey, GM everyone. How's it going? I hope you're excited to be here. We are here to talk about how crypto is really awesome, and I feel like everyone here agrees, but it has kind of a little problem, which is this thing that we all understand as being early. And if we agree that crypto is really awesome and all the properties that it has, with being able to like send money really easily and make trustless and decentralized applications are amazing. As more and more people get on board into the system, they end up getting less and less of the value. And the people that got in the start got a huge amount of it. And so that isn't great for adoption, and that isn't great for onboarding new people. And so at Worldcoin, we asked the question of what if Bitcoin has started by giving one Bitcoin to each human? What would have been the properties there? How would that have affected adoption? How would that have replaced any banks? How would that have happened? And so we said, let's figure it out. Not with Bitcoin, because that's incredibly expensive to buy one for each human. There's a lot of humans, unfortunately, but with the Worldcoin token. And so the issue that we had was we want to make this token and give it to everyone for free. How do we make sure that no one can just like claim a bunch of times and throw the whole experiment out the window? And this introduced us to this thing called civil attacks, which basically means this whole category of people pretending that they are multiple humans. Like, for example, if there's an airdrop, creating multiple wallets and making transactions between those wallets or using a protocol in general in order to claim more of an airdrop or to, I don't know, vote more on a governance proposal, all of these things. And so we wanted a solution to this problem that was private, inclusive, and scalable. And by that, I mean scalable, that you could onboard people relatively quickly and without too much hassle. Inclusive in that you could actually onboard every human eventually. Like, it wouldn't reject a proportion of humans just because like they are too similar to others, or they don't have crypto accounts, or they don't have existing activity, all of that. And private, because as we all know here, privacy is really important. And so we started looking into what solutions existed. So email or phone, it's kind of the default identifier, but that's not really, I mean, I personally have, I'm sure, more than 10 emails. So it's not really simple assistance. Then we start looking at maybe we can KYC, maybe we can ask you for your passport and your ID. And there's not only a big privacy problem here, obviously, but also when we're talking about inclusive, there's a lot of places in the world where people do not have IDs, or there is no database that you could check to make sure that those IDs are not duplicated. Maybe we can use Web of Trust. Web of Trust is this mechanism where people can vouch for each other. And so eventually you have like this web of trust, really, of people saying, I certify that this other person is human. And if another person certified it can be human. We ran a bunch of simulations on this, and it turns out it is not incredibly secure. Someone that is trusted can eventually generate a bunch of alts, and so it's not very civil. It is not incredibly hard to have duplicates, and the option that was left was biometrics, which every human has. It's relatively easy to read, and it's really hard to change, at least some of them. On that topic, fingerprints, which were our starting point, are really easy to change. Not when you're identifying someone, like if you are checking, this is Miguel, let's make sure that it's still Miguel, but checking their fingerprint with the one that we have saved in the database. That is easy because we're just checking how similar these two are. But when you're saying, let's compare this fingerprint with a database of 8 billion, if I make a little cut in my finger, that's an entirely different fingerprint. And so I get a different identity, and we don't want that. This also has another issue that the using a face also has, which is what they call entropy, or the amount of information, which is a fingerprint doesn't really have that much information on it. And so with enough people on the system, eventually you would get duplicates. And that goes to the inclusivity part, because now we are rejecting people that are really different people. But since there's not enough information here, it kind of seems like it's the same person. And so we didn't want to do that. That's why we couldn't use fingerprints. Same for faces, same for palms. Palms are not that, they don't have that much information, and they're also like pretty easy to change. And so DNA was an option, but aside from it being way worse, scarier than using eyes, the issue is it's just like super expensive to measure and takes a lot of time. And so the solution was irises. Irises are different enough so that we could differentiate every human on Earth with them. They're super hard to change in an unnoticeable way, and we decided to go for that. We started looking, how do we capture these things? Maybe we can use your phone. Turns out, again, we need a lot of information to be able to differentiate the 8 billion humans. And so there's just not enough resolution with either the phone sensor or off-the-shelf devices like everyone else is using. And so we ended up having to build our own thing. It isn't great. No one really wants to build hardware. It's a mess. But eventually, after 1 or 2 years of experimentation and of playing around with things, we made this guy. The orb. What the orb does is, first, it will make sure that you're a real human, that you're not trying to trick it. You're not trying to hold a photo of an eye to it, or you're not like trying to scan a dead person or a dog. And then it will look at your iris. It will use on-device computation to compute what we call an iris code, which is sort of a hash, so that we are not storing the original photo of the iris. And then it will use that iris code to mark you as a unique human. And so this is great. There's no images, no name, no contact info, no traditional KYC. We're only really having a bunch of numbers. But we said, we want more. We went to the extreme. Like, it's not enough that it's private. We want it to be anonymous, because really you just want to know whether someone is a human or not. You shouldn't be learning anything else more about them. So we started playing around with zero-knowledge proofs in order to make it so that you could prove that you are one of the humans registered without revealing which one. And we made it. We made this system, which it's a little bit complex, but it works. And so we said, okay, let's go around the world. Let's show it off. So we went around the world. We tried it on 25 countries all around the world, and we onboarded more than, I think at this point, 660,000 participants. We open sourced everything, and we decided, let's open up, let's start building more in public, let's start figuring out how we decentralize. But there was one thing that we kept hearing on and on as we were doing this experiment, which is all of the developers going, how, like, you've made this amazing verification system for civil assistance, you're just going to use it once and then like throw it away? Wouldn't it be really, really cool if anyone could just like add civil assistance to their application within a few minutes just using this system? And so we said, sure, let's do it. And we packaged it into a protocol we call WallID, which allows you to anonymously verify that someone is a real human and is doing something only once. So for example, instead of saying I'm a real person and I have never claimed Worldcoin and that's it, you can also make sure that someone hasn't voted in a particular poll, minted an NFT, redeemed an airdrop, joined a Discord server without revealing anything about them, not even being able to know if the same person that made this thing also made this other thing. It's completely anonymous. And the protocol itself is really complex, really, but we've worked really hard to make it super, super easy to use. And to add civil assistance to any of your applications, you literally only need these few lines of code. What this does is it renders this CAPTCHA-like widget on your application that will allow users to scan a QR code with their phone where the proof is stored, and then give you the proof of humanity that you can verify either on-chain or through an API. To just like make any application Web 2 or Web 3 on-chain or off-chain completely civil assistance. And so, for example, if you were making an airdrop, a page to claim an airdrop, the only thing that you would really have to do is add the WallID widget there. the user scans that, they would see this on their phones, and once they click verify, you get the proof, you can verify it, you know for sure that they're real humans. So basically the flow here is the user gets onboarded with Wallet ID through an orb. They only need to use this orb once, because then they get a key. And through the Wallet ID widget, users can receive a proof generated with that key in order to verify that the user is a human. Now, this is really, really cool. I feel like we've been talking for a long time about all of the amazing things that we could do if only we have civil resistance. We could do quadratic voting, we could do better forms of governance, we could do more fair airdrops, and so it's here. And we are here mostly to see what you guys can build with it. It's live on Polygon. We have not only worked on the protocol and the Wallet ID widget, we also have written tons of documentation, guides, examples, starter kits, a developer portal that can guide you through this stuff, through all of this stuff. We also wanted to give a shout out to these few projects, Semaphore, Hubble, and Wallet Connect, which we are all using behind the scenes and allow us to really do all of the things that we do. And we are only getting started. We have a lot more stuff that we want to ship, like multi-chain support coming soon, being able to use this with non-crypto applications and additional stuff. Yeah, and I thought I would just take a second now to show exactly how easy it is to use. And so this is the documentation that I was talking about. So this is the place to go to figure out how to do things. And in here, we have a list of examples that we have made, where you can see both the app, so the front end, and the smart contract and a demo. So we have made the example that I showed before, which is just a simple airdrop, where you are just adding the verifying the proof on the contract to make sure that you have the thing. And so basically the only thing that you do here is you get the proof, and then when you are calling the contract, you will send the proof over. So here you can see that we are claiming, and we are not only passing the wallet address, but also the 3 details from the proof. That's pretty much that and adding the widget are the only things that you need to change on the front end. And then on the contract side, the only thing that you need to do is call in this verify proof function from your smart contract with the 3 arguments that you get. And that's it. You can be fully sure that the person calling this function is a real human and has never done this before. That's how you defeat Sybil. It's that easy. We have more complex examples, like we've made a Discord bot to show more Web2 examples. And we also have starter kits on the GitHub. So, for example, a fully featured starter kit for Hardhat is if you write smart contract, which is commented to show you exactly what each part is doing, and also includes tests for you and also front ends for you to get started. So it's like adding 3 lines of code on the front end, 3 lines of code on the smart contract. And I am super excited because I feel like we're going to be able to do really, really cool things.
Great. I see a question from one of you regarding the device. So the way we do civil resistance is with this orb, physical orb. You have to go to one in person and get verified. But of course, for the hackathon, we have a different version that works in the staging network. The staging network is in Mumbai, and you can just use this version that will let you generate multiple identities to test, because obviously you're gonna burn them at some point. What you can do is just go to simulator.worldcoin.org, and you'll be able to generate an identity there, simulate that you've gone to an orb, and get the same effect. We're also going to share in the chat the main resource for this hackathon should be this Notion page. You can get links to all the documentation, starter kits, everything that you're gonna need. I think this is the simulator. Just generate an identity here, verify it here, and then use it here as if you were using the Worldcoin app. You do not need to go to an org for this one. We're gonna be in a bunch of conferences in person if you're interested in actually trying the org.
Yeah, we've been bringing ours to pretty much every ETH Global event for a bit now. Obviously, since this is an online conference, and even for development, since you can only use the thing once, that's like kind of like the process, it will be pretty hard to debug. So you can think of it as like kind of like a faucet, which you use it to get testnet tokens, but to get testnet entities, you can click on create a temporary entity and just like verify it. This is kind of like scanning through the orb. You go to the page, you click the button, that will verify the entity as if it had gone to the orb, and then afterwards you can just like use it as if it was actually your phone with the app. And you'll see the entity is verified, and so that's all you need to be able to test it. This works obviously only on testnet. That will defeat the entire purpose of the thing.
Great. I see another question about Devin says KYC is illegal with kids. How do you deal with that? Today, World ID can only be used by people over 18 for legal reasons. When you download the app, before you can verify, you need to confirm that you're over 18. The orb also detects based on different sensors if someone is likely underage. We are working on exploring different options for that.
Yeah, basically, I mentioned before that before actually scanning your ID, or does a bunch of tests to make sure that you're not showing a picture or showing a dead body or an animal. One of the things that it does is it figures if it tries to figure out if there's a kid in front, and if it is, it will just like not scan them.
Does the orb give the same hash every time it scans a certain iris then? Has this been tested enough?
So yes and no. The answer is functionally no. What we have is it's not really a hash as in a string. It's a hash as in like a vector with a bunch of dimensions, because it's not exactly, you're not just like hashing an image, you're really hashing the information inside of the iris, because otherwise you could just like take a different image, and as long as one pixel is different, the whole thing is different. The key here is these vectors have a distance function, and so if the distance is close enough to a parameter, we can know that these are the same people. I don't have an exact number of like the fiability of this, but it's like the error rate is low enough that you would never hit it.
And also to add to that, this vector lets us compute the distance, make sure that you're a unique person, but you cannot, there's no way to reverse any information out of that. It's not like from the vector you can extract the image or know nothing about it. So that's where the privacy comes from.
And respecting the tokenomics, we will have a token eventually, the Worldcoin token. That's like the whole point of this experiment that we were talking to. But the protocol is already deployed. It's an immutable contract, so there's no way that we could change it to add tokenomics to it. So that exists as a thing that anyone can use and query completely for free or without having to own any token, and will in the future, because we had no way of changing that even if we wanted to.
Yeah, the generated identity is linked to a wallet address. It is not. World ID is a completely privacy preserving protocol. So every time you use it, you generate a zero knowledge proof. If as an app, you need to associate or like verify a certain user account, whether that's a wallet address, an email, a normal account, that's up to the app. The protocol does not associate any wallet addresses with anything. So the user generates a zero knowledge proof every time that they're a unique human, and you as a developer get something called a nullifier hash. That nullifier hash is like an ID that's unique to that person and to your app, but it's not linked to any other nullifier hash that the same person would generate for another app. That's where the privacy comes from.
Yeah, and basically that's the whole point of having the widget where the user clicks the CAPTCHA thing and scans the QR code. under the hood that is generating a zero knowledge proof, sending it over to your device and verifying it, but we just like abstract all of that for you. So you literally just have to show this, send the response to either an API or a smart contract, and that gets verified for you. But yeah, the entire point there is, since it's not linked to any wallet, it is completely anonymous. I can even use it from a different wallet address anytime for voting on different proposals, for example, and no one would be able to know that all of these wallets belong to me. So it really is completely anonymous. I see some ads regarding what happens if someone suffers an eye injury. Thankfully, I mean, hopefully that doesn't matter, but that doesn't happen. But since you only really need to go to an orb once, after you go to the orb and get your key, even if you poke both of your eyes out, you will still have access to that key and be able to use it. So that shouldn't be a concern. So for recovery, someone asked, what if I lose the ID? Can I recover it again by registering my iris in the orb again? We are working on a recovery process that we want to launch soon. As of right now, that is not currently implemented, but we are studying exactly how to make that work. Someone asks, multiple wallets can have same nullifier hashes for same iris vector proof. You have to forget about the iris. There's kind of like two layers to this. The iris is just used to make sure that you're unique and then give you the key. After that, the iris doesn't matter anymore, and the only thing that matters is the key. And basically how the nullifier works, nullifier is kind of like, as Paolo said, a random ID. And so it's completely random. It will differ from each usage. Like I was saying before, claiming Worldcoin and claiming a different airdrop would generate different nullifier hashes. But for the same thing, if I want to claim an airdrop twice, that would be the same ID. That's a property of the zero knowledge proofs. And so basically, if I submit with my key if I generate two proofs, one with my wallet and one with a different wallet, those two proofs would have the same nullifier hash. And I could, for example, if I made my application so that it has like multiple actions, like for example, in a governance platform, in a voting platform, you could make it so that instead of being able to just like vote once globally, you can vote once for each proposal. In that case, for different proposals, the nullifier hash would be different. And the really cool thing is there's no way of matching these two nullifier hashes from different proposals to the same user. There's no way of knowing whether someone just like voted on two different things.
Right. What data is used to generate a CKP that a user is human? Is it only the World ID? Yes, today, the only way you can verify with World ID, and it's a binary outcome, is the entropy of the iris with the orb. The orb verifies that it uploads the public key of your World ID to the smart contract on chain. We are currently exploring and integrating other potential avenues to do the same like human verification. Let's see. I think that those were all the questions. Can the orb handle people getting cataract? So I'm definitely not a doctor or anything close to that. I know for most of the typical eye problems, if you have to use glasses, things like that, it doesn't matter because the picture that the orb takes is on the infrared spectrum. So and then also whatever you have is going to represent the entropy of your iris. Specifically for cataract, I don't have the answer. How does Worldcoin prevent users from giving away or even selling their IDs? So the way it happens right now is you cannot export the private key of your World ID. On your Worldcoin app, you have basically two sets of keys: the key for your wallet, the key for your World ID. The key for your World ID currently cannot be exported. Longer term, what we're gonna support is you're gonna be able to go back to an orb, re-verify, revoke the old key, and then the new key it gets validated. So if you sell it, there's really no incentive to buy it, because you know the person can just go revoke it right away.
Yeah, and by the way, all of the technical stuff that we have been talking about, specifically about how the protocol works, those are in the documentation. So if you didn't catch it now, there will also be a recording of this, but you could also just like go to the docs, which are at id.worldcoin.org. And I believe that we will have a link soon. It's not set up right now, but soon you will be able to go to worldcoin.org/ETHOnline.
ETHOnline 22.
It's set up?
Yeah.
Yeah, so worldcoin.org/ETHOnline 22. Paulo is going to drop it in the chat. That's a link with all of the resources. So the documentation, all of the example kits, the developer portal, all the things that we talked, even articles explaining these things, all the things that we're talking about, they will be all there. That's like the master link that goes everywhere. And yeah,
I think we have time for like these last two questions. Where is the private key of the World ID stored? Is it decentralized?
the private key is stored on the user's device. So your phone.
Self-custodial.
And yeah, and it's not even generated by the orb. It's generated by your device, and you just like give the public key to the orb, not the private key, obviously. So it never ever leaves your device. And then can you share your YouTube or somewhere where I can learn more? So on worldcoin.org, we have a few articles explaining more in depth how the protocol works. If you go there and you see and you are a little bit confused, don't worry. Most of that is technical info. Like I said, I feel like we've done a good job at making it so you don't have to understand how exactly that works in order to integrate it. And then if you search for Worldcoin ETH Global on YouTube, there's a bunch of presentations that we've done and other ritual events with more information about all of this. But yeah, the main link that you need to care about is worldcoin.org/ETHOnline 22, which is in the chat, which is basically the link that goes everywhere.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining. If you have any questions, we'll be around on Discord throughout this hackathon. We are happy to chat any ideas that you may have. And yeah, best of luck. We're really excited to see what you guys come up with.
Yeah, excited to see what everyone makes.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much, Miguel and Flywill, for taking the time to do this workshop for ETHOnline. As they said, they can be reachable over Discord throughout the course of the month. Really excited to see what everyone builds for your ETHOnline projects. And that being said, our kickoff is actually tomorrow, so hope to see all of you there on our platform, ethglobal.tv. We also have a really interesting summit. So yeah, see you guys around. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.